Who's that creepy guy staring at us above?
Yes. You see, that would be the religious experience. Like that's God. And then
So that would make you rendered in God's image, I suppose. Are you any good at this game?
I can figure out the rules. I know the rules, but I don't. I'm no chess master.
Well, I
Um,
see you've got a head start.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. I'm white, so I know I start. So
All right, here we go. I'm gonna mimic your move. I think I remember a little
cool.
bit of strategy here.
I conceive meetings being a lot more fun like this. Just for starters.
Totally. Let's see. I'm gonna actually try something different here.
I do love the physics, and this is very, very good. So, um, what were we? I was going to ask you, is like, so where are you guys with, you know, next phase of it, and beta, and was just asking
Totally.
about when you're going to start rolling this out so people can try it, I suppose. Um,
Totally, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. As soon as possible. We have a pretty aggressive roadmap coming up.
Mhm.
Uh, we've essentially established sort of the core, what we call triangulation
Mhm.
of presence in virtual reality. We've got the environment presence, right? We feel
Mhm.
a part of this environment. We've got the social presence. You and I feel
Yeah.
connected together here in virtual reality.
Mhm.
And then there's sort of the what we're calling cognitive presence. There's the life forms that sort of make us feel present in the world.
Yeah.
Um, and as far as environment presence, we're going to actually build more of an environment. We've got this is about a square mile. We have 80,000 to go.
Mhm.
So the first step for us is to build more of the environment and allow for locomotion. So
Yeah.
multiple input mechanisms to get you around the world. We've got teleportation, but that only gets us so far, right? So
Yeah.
we've got air balloons. You can plug in a flight stick and fly an airplane across the world. You can drive across the world. So the first step for us is to build more scale in terms of the environment.
Mhm.
As you notice, there's no menu system, for example. So we've got an entire 3D UI planned. Um, the ability to collect things in the world. We have a backpack mechanism or mechanic, so you can grab things and kind of put it into your backpack and store
Oh,
things.
cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And chess is pretty cool, but we'd like to introduce more interactive shared activities. So we've got
Mhm.
fishing. We've been working on a fishing game that we're going to introduce, and we're also looking into more sort of natural, sort of game-like mechanics. Maybe not so much as chess, but things that you can do in the environment that are quite natural, like
Mhm.
interacting with organisms within the environment and such. And we're also looking uh, at sort of evolving the avatar system.
Mhm.
This is sort of the early stages of an avatar system that is pretty scalable. I mean, your beard, for example, we can remove your beard, and there's stubble underneath. We're looking at uh, we're looking at a we've been looking into a worker mechanic for the beard so
Good.
that it grows and so on. And we're
Yeah.
really beefing up the social interaction aspects of the software. So facial expressions that adhere to to voice and also stimulus in the world. So as you remain in the world, your avatar gets tired, and you've got to do things to um, you know. Uh, give your avatar energy, if you will. So things like
Mm.
sleeping, things like partaking in activities, and so on. And
Mm.
all of the activities you partake in reflect on your avatar in some way in terms of its expression,
Okay.
and of course conversational expression as well. So as I'm talking, there's a bit
Yeah.
of lip sync, but we want to
Yeah.
take it much further than that.
So
as far.
how does the facial recognition work sort of going forward from here? Do you think that with headsets like these, you will be able to have sort of some sort of motion detecting, so that it will avatars will be able to mimic facial expressions, or will you need like separate more
Hardware.
like more tech sort of motion detect that?
In the future, we'll
Yeah.
certainly require more hardware, right? And I
Mhm.
think the industry is headed in that direction. In the
Mhm.
meantime, our faces are occluded, right? So, and we don't have the hardware, so we're relying on software to
Yeah.
kind of fill in those gaps. So we're using algorithms. So from your
Mhm.
voice, I can learn a lot about what your facial expression might be,
Yeah.
and the context is quite fun. So we can we don't have to be correct all the time. We can have fun with it in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah, you always say like people say you can hear it when people are smiling over the phone and
Right.
things like that. So yeah, I suppose that you could play around with that. No, that's yeah. I suppose as well you could have even kind of readers that like motion sensors set up on a wall somewhere that actually read facial expressions or something like that. That's not impossible to think that that could happen too. But
Absolutely.
yeah.
There's been some research at Facebook in this area that's been
Mm,
quite interesting and using cameras actually attached to the HMD and facing
mhm,
towards the face
yeah.
and picking up facial expressions in that way.
Mhm. And do you guys? I mean, obviously, we're using the HTC Vive here, but anything like, are you looking to develop for the other gear as well, or
Absolutely.
yeah?
Absolutely. Vive has been, uh, you know, has given us a good deal of environment presence through room scale.
Mhm.
We're looking forward to Oculus uh, 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 towards the Oculus Rift and hand
Mhm.
presence to, really sort of give us a high degree of hand presence in VR.
Mm.
And then I think PlayStation VR is going to be interesting by way of sort of social, sort of the physical social interactions as well. So sort of the
Mm.
players across a network, but then also players
Yeah.
physically present as
Yeah.
well. So
With
it's
with
sort
the
of the asynchronous
PlayStation,
social.
is it going to be sort of hand controllers? Like, what are the controllers like with the PlayStation One? Because I've seen the headgear,
Hmm.
but do they have like the individual hand
Hmm.
controllers like the Vive?
Yep, they're using the PlayStation Move controllers as
Okay.
well. Yep.
All right. Yeah, that's and then yeah, as you say, like I heard that Facebook was developing the Oculus one. When's that? Do we know when they're going to release the hand controllers for
They've been
the Oculus?
late this year.
Yeah,
There's a
again,
consumer release.
yeah,
Yeah, and they've been sharing with developers as well.
yeah,
So
yeah. I was just saying it's going to be an expensive Christmas if you like VR, I think.
totally,
Just a bit, just a bit. Oh,
absolutely.
cool. So what kind of like time scale are you looking at for this? I mean, what are the next steps, and when, and I was also, the other question would be that, what's the kind of model that you're looking at, or are you even looking that far ahead as far as, how do you price this? Is it going to be a free
Sure,
experience and then you pay for elements, or like
sure.
how's it going to work?
So we've been exploring a few areas in terms of price and also release. We'd like
Mm.
to honestly release it as soon as possible. I mean, we're
Mhm.
looking at a 3 to 4 month time frame. We'd like to go early access Steam possibly and get feedback from the community and
Mhm.
and really get a sense of where we should go with the software. I think it needs to be sort of community led. So the
Mhm.
sooner we can get it into the hands of the community, the better. In
Mhm.
terms of pricing, I think like we'd love to. Uh, uh, we want MetaWorld to be as accessible as possible, right? As just as many users as possible,
Mm.
and I think and so typically that means free, right? Like just
Yeah.
create something that is widely accessible and free. and then find a way to commoditize experiences. Like, and I
Hmm.
think with physical experiences, like if we're doing our jobs, then this really feels like chess. Like this is really an
Yeah.
object.
Yeah.
It's physical, and so
Hmm.
I think we can create value through activities within the world and commoditize those activities and use the community to understand the best way to commoditize those activities as well.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I agree. And where, I mean, where do you see the sort of space evolving? Because obviously, you guys are there in San Francisco, and I was saying earlier this year, I was just there at Linden Lab, and talking about
Yeah.
Project Sansar and all of that. So where do
Oh,
you see
cool.
you guys sort of fitting into that social VR space as well? Is it like a direct competitor? Is it something that you might even be able to work with, or what?
Totally. Yeah, I think that competition's really tough.
Mm.
Do you know if Sansar is actually persistent? Is it truly persistent world
Yeah, we
that
were
you know
just
of?
yeah, we were just talking about that, and I think that it's very difficult to say for sure because obviously they're still very much in a sort of early closed
Right.
sort of closed lip about it as well. But I do say that we
Uh,
were thinking that they have sort of what was called it instances. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
so is that true persistence though, or is it
yeah.
sort of somewhat true persistence?
Yeah,
And the
so
reason I ask
yeah, we
is
were
it's
saying that is instances. So whereas if
uh,
you reach a certain number, like in Second Life, if you reach a certain number of
ah
users in an
right,
environment, then it will kind of generate a new one, which kind of makes sense from what
interesting,
they were talking about. Is very
right,
much, the model is around generating almost sort of templates of experiences and things like that,
right,
and so you'd be able to
right,
reproduce those quite easily.
right,
Yeah,
right,
mm,
yeah. So I'm
yeah,
sort of reluctant to draw parallels to
yeah.
many of the social VR experiences, and for one reason, and that is, I think there are what we're doing is combining, a, triangulation of experience to create
Hmm.
this sort of new breed of social VR entertainment, right? And so,
Yeah.
and true persistence is an important aspect of that triangulation. For example, the birds above us are, they're thinking, they're behaving, and that adds to the experience in some fashion, right?
Hmm.
The idea that
Yeah.
these birds will migrate, they'll create more birds. Bees will soon pollinate plants around us, right? And again, adding
Yeah.
to that sense of environment presence. And so I think without, and the idea that you and I, if you will, do you mind taking a walk with me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Let's see if we can walk and talk. That'd be interesting. I'm
Yeah.
gonna teleport here. Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah.
I'm learning this as we go here too. You see? We're gonna go over by the fire here, over there. You ready? So
Oh yeah.
it's the
Yeah.
trackpad.
The
So
teleporting's
trackpad
not quite
hold.
working.
Uh-oh.
Oh no. Oh no. No. No, yeah. That's yeah. I was just about to say.
Sure,
which sort of headset would be most suitable for that? I mean, I'm thinking the things like the HoloLens are quite interesting because
sure,
then you sort of get both as well, don't you?
Sure, you do.
Yeah.
Except with HoloLens, you don't get the deep deeper levels of immersion, right? You
Mm.
sort of get the data,
Yeah.
you get the information, and you get sort of the context of the real world. Like this morning, I
Yeah.
would have woken up and put on my HoloLens before getting prepared for this conversation. For example, I
Yeah.
wouldn't have grabbed a laptop. I would have, you know,
Hmm.
put the internet on my face, if you will, and carried
Yeah.
about with my coffee and everything else.
Yeah.
But I think that uh, deeper levels of immersion with data is something that we've been exploring and thinking a lot about. So,
Yeah.
you know, maybe I'm uh, maybe I'm researching whales, and I desire to teleport myself to, a specific location in the world related to whales, and collecting information in context, and it again requires a deep level of immersion. I want to be there. I want to be
Mm.
where the whales are. I want to, really sort of teleport myself into the experience of a whale, and then I would use virtual reality in that sense for the web. Or
Yeah.
if it, maybe a particular instance in life where I require a deep level of immersion um, on a wide variety of topics, and
Yeah.
there's yet to we haven't seen quite the web browser for virtual reality yet. I know that Google's
Yeah.
been working on turning Chrome into a browser-friendly or
Yeah.
a VR-friendly experience, but I would
Yeah. With
imagine,
Daydream. Yeah.
yeah, with Daydream and such.
Yeah.
But still, I think that I mean, I could imagine a Tony Stark like Iron Man. I'm deeply immersed. I'm calling it. I say it and it appears. Give me a whale, and a whale appears, and you're controlling things with your hands and so on. Um,
Yeah.
but I think in the long
Yeah.
term, I feel like the long tail is actually a convergence of AR, VR, something
Yeah.
wireless, so I can have that sort of augmented experience. And if I
Hmm.
wish to go deeper, I can go deeper as well. I think we're a ways away from that, but
Yeah.
I would imagine that's sort of where things are headed.
Yeah, I'm really liking the way the sort of sparks they actually go around your avatar as well, so they don't. Yeah, they're kind of acknowledging the fact that your avatar's there, and it's nice sort of adding to the presence thing too. But speaking of
Very
Tony
cool.
Stark's, like that's the next thing that you just need to do. I mean, when's the Iron Man sort of flying experience
Yes.
coming? Yeah, I mean, come on, that has to happen.
Has to happen, right? I think
Yeah,
spatial OS is perfect for such a use case, right? We've actually
yeah.
been working on a product we call Grid VR.
Mhm.
So it's really stripping away. Once we have sort of a foundation with MetaWorld, right? We've got
Mhm.
teleportation, or sorry, motion mechanics, locomotion mechanics. We have sort of environment. We can pull objects into the space.
Mhm.
Once we actually incorporate the web, we've actually been working with a small company. I probably can't speak to it yet, but
Mhm.
this company is allowing uh, the projection of web objects into a space,
Uh-huh.
so you can actually call elements of web pages or web apps through
Oh,
voice
okay.
or through control. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's an augment of the web, um, and so once those elements come into place, and you strip away the context and the concept, you get a grid whereby you can visualize virtually anything. And
Mhm.
with spatial OS, it's data visualization at massive scale, which is
Okay.
quite compelling. Uh, uh,
Cool.
and so we're early, it's early days of those experiments, but something's coming for sure. We're
Yeah.
definitely working on in that area.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, I think that even this kind of controller setup would lend itself very nicely to the Iron Man thing because you've already got the things. I mean, I can see a really big market for the hardware. It's like, you actually get Iron Man arms, and those are your VR controllers. But that's just me.
Absolutely.
That's the kind of stuff I would buy.
Totally. You and me both.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
definitely. Bit of market research there. Well, I'm conscious as well that we've only sort of have the sort of half an hour. you know, demo. But and also it's like, how early is it in the morning for you? Is
It's
it?
about 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I initially
It
woke
is.
up
It
at
is. Yes.
yeah, I woke up at
uh,
about 2. I had something going on at 2 o'clock, but that got canceled, so I decided to stay awake.
I know. I know. I was like that is a bit mad. Though. No, 2 in the morning. That's not good. Not good. Um. Well, good. I think that's kind of like the questions I had. I mean, is there anything else that you think that we haven't covered that you'd like to sort of talk about, or like I'm getting my head around the whole sort of the players in the space and the social aspect of it, and I think that is huge. Is about sort of where you take it from here, and how I think the interesting aspect, as you say, will come when you start getting the user data. And I think that is always
Yes,
surprising how people will actually use it as opposed to how you expect them to use it as well. Um,
absolutely, totally.
but we're in a place where now I think you just you're used to interacting socially online, and then that's taking it to the next step. And I think that it will be fascinating to see how people do it.
Yeah,
But you can see why
absolutely.
Facebook got into it, because it is, yeah, it is all about the social. I mean, you can see that, yeah, they think is fun and games, but it's not the big business play, is it?
Right,
It's about
right.
getting people to interact socially. um so yeah, that's the kind of angle that I'll be playing. So but yeah, I mean, any other thoughts from your end specifically, or
Sure.
I
Yeah.
can't think of any
Just,
other specific
just.
questions at this point. I mean, I might remember them afterwards, but I'm kind of like watching the birds as well at the moment. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I think you asked
Yeah.
a really important question, and around sort of social, and there was an interesting uh, sort of finding a few days ago where and I almost hate to say these few words, but I almost have to because it's relevant to the conversation.
Mhm.
Pokemon Go surpassed
Oh.
Facebook.
Oh.
Surpassed Facebook in terms of hours accumulated per user within the software. And I thought,
Do
well,
you
how is
do you
that?
think they realized it? To me, it just seems like a total accident, and it just went mad. And it's like, I don't think they actually realized how popular it's going to be.
I don't
Is
think so
is
either.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it was just one of those mad things, and then people were like, yes.
yeah, yeah.
But my favorite, I saw it on the Huffington Post today, just as an aside. There is an alternative game where it's called Chardonnay Go, and then
Oh,
you apparently chase real wine glasses around, and then go drinking your way around town, which to me sounds better. But it's like,
that sounds
yeah,
really fun.
that's all right,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think it could be the
all right,
beginning of some stuff. All right,
cool.
so yeah, well, such a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you. Yes, it's a great meeting you as well, as I go over the
Shake
miles.
your
Yeah.
hand.
Bye.
Bye.